Somebody is getting fired after this weekend, Harris. I don't know who it is, but it's going to be one of these guys or maybe a college football coach, but this is NFL Daily, so we're going to go through some NFL coaches.
All right.
Somebody's getting fired. We're ranking them from 5 to 1. It might be me. We'll see. Let's start with number 5, John Fox, head coach for the Bears. Obviously, not the season he would like, but you got to give it to the Bears for at least, squeaking out a couple of upset wins.
Yeah, and also if you want to go check out the this article, Brian Roth wrote it on the chatsports.com. Go find 5 head coaches who may get fired this season. I think John Fox is on this list, and it's kind of sad because his job might be tied to Mitchell Trubisky, Cam, but he didn't even know that they were going to draft him when they did. He was not alerted, and all of a sudden they just have Mitch Trubisky. It's super random that they might fire him if he isn't any good. But John Fox, same concept as I said before, Dick Cutter. He's an average head coach. Eventually you need someone to come in and take you on to the next step. I think John Fox is going to get Mark Jackson eventually. And for those who don't know what that means, he got replaced by Steve Kerr, and now the Warriors are the best team of all time. So, take it as you will.
I do think John Fox has more time than some of these other guys that we're going to list off. So let's get to number 4 here. Candidate to get fired after this weekend, Ben McAdoo, head coach for the Giants. The Giants currently 1-6, looking pretty bad at this point. And
not great, Cam.
They do have that nice win against Denver, I guess, on Sunday Night Football. But other than that, pretty gross.
I think both him and Jerry Reese, their GM, are going to be fired. I think they need a clean slate with this team. Jerry Reese even came out and said that a lot of the losses this year has been his fault because the team he's put together is just gruesomely bad. They don't have a good offensive line. They can't protect Eli Manning. The defensive line is severely underperformed this year. They've never been able to draft a linebacker. They haven't drafted a linebacker in the top 3 rounds in a decade and a half, which is the stupidest thing ever because that's all they've needed on defense for years now is a linebacker. So I think Jerry Reese needs to go. I think he's one of the most overrated GMs in football. He's been living off of a very lucky Odell Beckham Jr. pick for years now, and I don't think he's a good GM. I think he's done a lot of bad for this football team.
Okay, so Ben McAdoo, the head coach for the Giants. We'll see how long he will remain that. So let's get to number 3 here. Marvin Lewis, head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is something that just seems to come up year in and year out.
Get rid of him.
Just end it. Be done with it, please.
Please, I think everyone, including everyone in Cincinnati and everyone else, wants to see the Bengals compete, and they're not going to do that with Marvin Lewis as their head coach. They're not. I'm sorry, he's not a. What do we have to prove that he's not a good head coach? Oh, here's a little stat for you, Cam. He's been the head coach of the Bengals for over a decade. Guess how many playoff wins he has?
Oh, he's got to have 3 or 4, right?
Nope. He's got 0.
That's pretty bad, right?
Big fat goose egg.
That's as many as us.
Yeah, really. We have as many. We, as a chat sports company, have as many combined playoff wins as Marvin Lewis.
Wow.
And that's pretty sad.
Wow.
Marvin Lewis needs to go. This is getting a little ridiculous at this point. Fire him, get some new coordinator, blow up the coaching staff. The Bengals have a lot of talent. They need to just blow up the coaching staff and start over.
Okay, so the Bengals not doing so hot in 2017. We'll see what happens with Marvin Lewis going forward. Let's get to number 2, and I love the picture. A pouting Hugh Jackson, and he's pouting because he's 1-22 as a coach for Cleveland.
1-22.
Gross.
Jesus, that's even worse than Gus Bradley. That is worse. Gus Bradley was 4-27.
Yeah.
So that must mean that Hugh Jackson has the worst minimum 23 games coached, the worst winning percentage of any head coach in NFL history. I'm sorry. Do you know how bad your franchise has to be? Oh boy, Cam, I got another little fun stat for you.
Oh boy.
Guess what the Browns' record is in their past 47 football games?
1-46.
4-43. Do you know how bad of a franchise you have to be to go 4-43 over your past 47 games?
I don't know how they have fans.
In an NFL where parity reigns supreme and everyone else is going 8-8, they can't get 2 wins in a season, 3 wins. I'm sorry, this isn't a talent problem. This is a pathetic problem. I don't know what to do.
Okay, so for those just tuning in, we are doing a little segment here.
So sad.
Somebody is getting fired in the NFL, and we have our top 5 candidates. Let's get to number 1. Chuck Pagano, head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. fresh off a 27-0 shellacking against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now, Harris, this is the big nugget of information here. The Indianapolis Star reported that inside the front office with Chuck Pagano, it reached a fever pitch moment. Wow.
Oh, God. You know what? You know what's interesting, Cam?
What's that?
This isn't a bad Colts job if he gets fired. It's actually a pretty decent coaching job.
It is.
Let's say Andrew Luck comes back healthy. You now have a great young GM in Chris Ballard, who's been pretty fantastic. He's rebuilt that defense in a good way. Solid young defense. Great quarterback when he's healthy. A great number 1 wide receiver. An offensive line that has a good piece to build around in Anthony Costanzo. Jack Doyle's a solid tight end. Marlon Mack looks pretty good at running back. All they need is a good coaching staff. If you're a head coaching candidate, you wouldn't be upset taking this job. The only thing you're probably a little annoyed over is the fact that Jim Irsay is kind of a head case. No, he's not kind of a head case. He is a head case. So the Colts job isn't a bad one. It's just I think it's time for Chuck Pagano to go.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Let's go through our summary. Somebody's getting fired in the NFL pretty darn soon. Number 5, John Fox, head coach for the Bears. Ben McAdoo for the Giants. Marvin Lewis for the Bengals. Hugh Jackson for the Browns. Chuck Pagano for the Colts.